podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
It is Tech Talk. You got us on Double T 97.3. Thank you for joining us for a Monday edition. Clint, Gus, and Brennan keep hitting us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Thoughts, comments, questions, all of that. Welcome there. Of course, it was a successful weekend for the Red Raiders after they took down Oregon State. Now they will turn their attention to a conference opener against Utah, but you also have some weekly awards. Defensive Player of the Week. I believe this is co-Defensive Player of the Week. By the way, it doesn't matter. Well-deserved here again, Gus. How about Bryce Pollock? Not just getting his first interception.
Yep, love it.
Second as well.
Beautiful.
2 there, Gus. That was big for him. One of those, the one where he like dives for it, stretched out for it. Incredibly athletic play there. You could tell when Malik Murphy, when he turned around on the big board, he knew it was a mistake, but also the face of like, how did he bring that? How did this end as another interception? Either way, it was a 45-14 final. Behren Morton, really good again. He did throw his first pick of the season. That was about the only knock for him, to me, in the entire non-conference, was that one pass there. And so if that's as kind of mucky as he got, I would take that 10 out of 10 times. And, yeah,
Leftwich today in his media availability took the blame on it. Don Williams asked him about it and said, "Hey, you were kind of almost like, hey, he wasn't yelling at him or anything." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "What was the exchange like?" And he said, "I told him it was my fault. We were in protection for zero, what I'm probably expecting a blitz, and didn't get it, and he kind of." Took the heat for it, which, whether that's true or not, who knows? But yeah,
it from the offensive coordinator. Way.
him having your back. That's But goodness gracious,
because how it's easy to forget that, Gus, is the absolute dimes he was throwing all game long. I mean, maybe none better than that first touchdown to Coy Aiken. That might have been the best pass. To me, that's like a top 3 Behren Morton pass in his entire career here.
All the screen haters had a rough day the other day because the screen game is elite the other day. It's like the screen gets criticized when it's there to be criticized, and you don't ever hear any compliments paid to it. Like, hey, that situation was elite the other day. We whipped their behinds in that screen game. And what I mean by that is they would throw it out there, and it was just the mano-a-mano side of that.
Yeah.
Our all the whatever mismatches, the physical mismatches, however you want to chart it up, we dominated, and that little point of attack screenplay, man, that first block would work, and then our dudes getting cuts and running for a while, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, it's hard enough whenever you're getting out physical and you're down the field, and then even if you get past that, by the way, try to make an open field tackle on Jacoby Williams. Or I keep on going back to I am amazed every week at how athletic Terrence Carter is.
Clint, I think the screen game is going to be huge this weekend because Utah's going to blitz a bunch, and that screen can be kind of a blitz beater. I mean, it's if you're jamming safeties in the box and doing a lot of that kind of stuff, it's we'll see, but I think that's going to be a big part of it.
If you missed this yesterday, if you didn't hear it on Double T 97.3, the Dallas Cowboys picked up their first win for head coach Brian Schottenheimer, and it had all the drama. This was one of the most stressful, fun, random football games I've ever tuned into that I didn't know was going, because sometimes you have matchups that are built like this is going to be an all-timer, right? It's the Ravens and Bills. It's Sunday Night Football, dude, whatever. And it's a division matchup, so it's an important one. The Cowboys were coming off of a loss, but a loss that they did a lot of things right. Well, this was a win that they did a lot of things wrong. That secondary got torn up somehow with a touchdown with under a minute to go does not bite them in the end. I think Dak Prescott made a ton of really big plays. He wasn't perfect by any means. Javonte Williams has been a highlight for the Cowboys, but it's hard not to go, is Brandon Aubrey at least a top 5 all-time kicker? He is incredible. That 64-yarder to send it OT made the was there any stress by the time that he was finally just jogging out there for a 46-yarder to go for the win? Was there any doubt in anyone's mind he was going to put that through?
I was listening to a game on the radio coming home from soccer yesterday, and they were they started getting a little conservative once they crossed the 45. Well, they're in field goal range now. It's like 41-yard line.
Yeah.
We're like, let's run it in there and give him a hash to work from. It's like these, and finally, what's his name? The commentator, the color guy, is like, maybe a few more yards. We are just sort of nonchalant in the 58-yard kick. Like, it's a big.
Does it blow you away how good kickers are now?
Clint,
I feel like over the past 5 years, they have just gotten incredibly consistent on just ridiculously long kicks.
I sent me and 3 guys my age go back and forth a bunch of emails, and we're all scattered all over the country, just old friends. Mm-hmm. We're talking about kickers, and we're like, the kickers we grew up on, and I punched in 3 names. Jim Bakken, Fred Cox, whatever. These guys kicked in the NFL for 10, 12, 14 years. Career 64% kickers. Mm-hmm. And in 1978, the 3 guys kicked 52-yard field goals. 3! Everything else was less than that. A significant number of those kickers had their longest field goal like 47 or whatever. Mm-hmm. In other words, the kickers of yore couldn't even sniff these guys now. Man, that is not an exaggeration. Yeah. It may be
it's wild.
It may be the most changed part of the game from then to now in terms of just the ability to shrink a field. Golly, these mercy.
Tonight, you can hear a recap of that win. Cowboys Hour, 6 o'clock, Double T 97.3. 6 o'clock, 100.7 The Score. It is the high school fan zone. Randy Rosetta will be joined by coaches from Estacado at 6, Memorial at 6:30, and Liberty at 7 o'clock. 9 o'clock after that, it is the late Monday night football game. We have 2 tonight. The one you can hear on 100.7 The Score, Chargers and Raiders. Can they both lose? I hope so. Mm-hmm. 7 o'clock, Double T 97.3. Whoever had the Sports Center from 12 to 3 today, I don't know what they were thinking or what they saw. This is indeed played in Houston. It is the Houston Astros hosting the Texas Rangers. Gus, this is a biggie. You come out of the weekend, the Rangers are 3 games back in the AOS. And who are they 3 games back from? Not the Houston Astros, no, the Seattle Mariners. 2 games back behind Houston in that final wild card spot. Things are getting dicey.
I would like to apologize to the Seattle Mariners for doubting them in April.
Yeah.
Because I said, look, the Mariners are going to play good all year long, and then when September hits, they're going to crash like they usually do. Not only have they not crashed, they're continuing to play not only good baseball, but better. And it's like, well, and to be fair, it's not like the Angels are going to add much resistance. Thanks, Los Angeles, for the help. We appreciate it.
The Mariners have real arms too at the top of that thing. I mean, I've been worried about it for most of the second half. Like, the Mariners are the team that could get unlocked here and make things really tough, and they really didn't do that for the bulk of the second half. I'm thinking, man, they've got some dudes that can thump, and they're going to have the MVP, and they got 2 or 3 really good arms. They got the closer.
Well, and the good news, though,
there they go. They
waited
until mid-September.
If you're an Astros fan, you can take care of your own business and get that right back, because not only do you host the Rangers, but you will see those Seattle Mariners one more time on the way out. And the bad news is you also face the Rangers and Mariners. Back with more next. Let's talk about screen hating some more. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
You know, I knew we had that. Ouch. It comes full circle.
Dude, when that happened, you knew you had problems.
Oh,
you
man.
knew you had problems.
I don't know if you know too much about Deshaun Foster, but he's no longer at UCLA. He's unemployed.
Yeah. Again, I'm certainly not rooting against him. That situation as a whole was hard to root for, though, especially with specifically Iyamaleva, their quarterback issue. And
when you go into the Big Ten media days, and it's your first day, mind you. Now that's one part of it, but the second part of it is, first day in the conference. That's what magnifies what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. That you stand up and think that you have to tell these people where the hell your school is. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Especially when it's the
like that dude's
University
never
of
watched,
California, Los Angeles.
That dude's never watched any of this crap. Like in July, you've never stumbled across on July 16th or on social media, you've never seen the Nick Saban clips of him at the SEC media days to fathom what the hell it is you're doing. He's just, okay, we're school in Los Angeles. Like, are you kidding me? And that got blown up, and guess what? It was the perfect indicator of what a mess that was going to be. And the dude may be a fine running backs coach. He was employed here for a year under Cliff. But that to me even tells you even worse. Like, where's your head, dude? They didn't bring you there from Tarleton State. You've been around D1. You've been at that place. Was the Pac-12 media days such a joke that
he's been in front of NFL media. He's been in the circle.
Hey, tomorrow at 3:00, we're going to be the plane's going to Vegas, and you're going to speak to a room full of media, and the first words out of your mouth are that comedy that we play on here. Like at that point, didn't you know we had a problem, boys? We had a problem. You think, and you convince yourself, like you go, hey, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay because, that's not indicative. And then you look back 15 months later and you go, 14 months later. And you go, that was the perfect indicator of how bad this was going to be.
I would love to
how
be
either
like
unprepared he is or how unprepared his bosses were that somebody didn't go, now, Clint, at Big 12 Media Days, there's going to be a bunch of people waiting on you, and you're going to give an opening statement. Okay? Then they're going to ask questions. Okay? This is what it looked like last year, and have you sit there and watch a 5-minute YouTube.
I guarantee you they're going to do it this round, Gus. I guarantee you next year that's going to be
unbelievable.
Hey, look.
I wish we had them on the schedule right now. We go get us some of that. Utah got it. Props to them.
Utah got it, and you know what, Gus? This is part of what I can't figure out on Utah. I do think it's clear, Gus. Clearly, they are better than last year. They are way more put together, but. You've got this, and you should. You did not have a tough non-conference. You can still perform good, great, bad, average when you're playing bad opponents, right? And you played extremely well. You performed about as good as you could have. I don't get why that conversation isn't around Utah right now. And maybe it's because it's now we know that, but UCLA, there's a reason why their coach just got fired, and they looked solid against them. They did what they were supposed to against Cal Poly. They looked like a mess in the first half in Laramie, which I get. Stop me if you've heard about a team looking like a mess in Laramie.
That's exactly.
We have to get past that though and look at it objectively. That is not the same Wyoming. And the other side is, yes, you went up there and they beat you, but you also went up there and played a horrendous 2.5 quarters up there and bad overtime, and you went and lost that game. You can still sit back and say you should not have gone and done that, right? And so you can still say when you're looking to me
better Wyoming.
Yes, when you're comparing it, I don't know fully what to think of this Utah
either.
squad. I know they're good, but are they a great team? Are they the class of the league this year? Are they average and we just haven't seen it yet? And because guess what? This is going to be your toughest game by a long shot.
Right.
You're going to be their toughest game by a long shot, whether it's at home or not.
And they like
right now.
The little bit of their just fan, podcast stuff, whatever. The little bit of that I've heard has been, and I don't know if I was hearing the one that they all listen to, God, I hope not, or, some two yahoos that were whatever. But, I mean, the first thing they harped on at least 4 times in the thing, Texas Tech's never seen anything like Rice Eccles, and the elevation, and the elevation, and the elevation. Like, bruh, when Houston goes up there and they're at sea level, they're going to 4,100 feet. That's a 4,100 foot difference in elevation, all right? We live at 3,100. So 3,100 to 4,100 is not much. I mean,
Can I be honest? You know which
you
environment
kidding me?
I think is more consistent? And I'm saying that because I do think that their environment is really good. And I'm glad I want the Big 12 to be thought of like the SEC, where it does not matter where you go, you don't want to go there, right? Because that's the type of conference I want to be in and I want to be a part of. And you are doing your part there. And I do think Utah can say that they're doing their part with their environment and their crowd and their fan support. But here's the thing: if you say like you've never been there, dude, one of the best you just went to a couple years ago, and it's in the same state. And if you want to do the elevation, BYU is just down the road, and I think in and out they don't have to go like, oh, but it's not a night game, so why we're not getting a night game, so now I have to be worried about the environment. Like they're not doing that over there.
Yeah, the narrative.
So
I heard
that part is like they've never been in an environment like this is a joke, and I don't get. It's like it's delusional. I don't know where they're pulling that from.
I know. I'm sure it's good, but it's like you realize that we've been in a conference where with Texas and OU and like in recent history, guys on this team that played in those environments. And, not to mention, like if we're just talking about institutional history here, used to play A&M every other year. Like, dude,
if you lose this game because the environment breaks you, you were not championship material to build. Now, if you go lose this game because they're the better team and it's a close game, that's one thing. But if you go and we're looking back, it's like you just didn't know what to do because the crowd was so loud. You were not prepared for a Big 12 championship run anyways.
Right. Joey talked today at his presser about how they'll practice all 3 days. Offense will stay in the indoor and just blast crowd noise. Back in the old days, you used to play loud music. Now they can just blast crowd noise.
Remember 2 weeks ago when there were like 2 cowbells running around practice at Tempe? That got them ready for Mississippi State. It's Tech Talk.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. Thank you for joining us. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Brandon Riker behind the glass taking care of us. And we will go behind the glass because it is now time for a Monday play of the day.
Motion is Carter to the right side, joining Aiken and Douglas. Morton straight back to throw this time. Has time, floats it right side for Aiken, and he's got it. Touchdown, Red Raiders. Play action. Morton going to step up in the pocket, throw towards the end zone. Carter is there, gets his foot down. Touchdown, Red Raiders.
I know I only picked 2 of these touchdowns from Morton, but I think one of the bright spots from Saturday's game that really stood out to me was Morton's ability to pinpoint the mid-range to deep balls to the receivers. And yes, there's some outstanding catches, but I think one thing that people might have overlooked at some time, or, maybe not around here, but I think we're distracted. I'm going to continue.
Keep talking there, big boy.
Stretch.
Old lady cramping over here, man.
You need some potassium.
No.
Where's Rob? Rob needs to run in here with a banana.
I just ate a banana on the way over.
Gatorade.
Keep talking.
Oh, what about, have you had an electrolyte lately?
No,
Or
I have not.
the Pedialyte.
I need some. That'd be a good idea.
Some pickle juice. Ugh. Sorry, go on.
Okay, what
Brennan.
were we talking about? Oh, yeah. I think...
Go on.
Okay. I'm not going to look at you. I'm going to look at Gus. I'm going to look at Gus.
That was the problem in the first part. Sorry, go on. Go ahead.
Anyways, to make a long story short, I think Morton has done a really good job to start out this season, has looked really good, and I think that some people might have kind of overlooked that, and I think maybe there's some people entering the season that had doubts about the quarterback spot, and I don't think there should be any at this point in time.
You know, well, this will get settled. If it's going to be this way, it's going to be this way. It'll get settled. A lot of things will be settled this week as far as, conversation between maybe you and comparing yourself or being compared with to Utah. But something that I don't understand is that I'm not saying, and again, part of this is competition, so I understand, like Behren Morton should be on all of these top 10 Heisman watches or anything like that. But I have seen Devon Dampier on a ton of these, and on a couple of them, like as high as 6 best odds. And by the way, this is like publication opinions.
Sure.
I don't know what the actual Vegas odds or anything like that. I think for that Morton might have been like 15th or something like that. But Devon Dampier's played solid football so far. I think the best thing you can say about him, and this is a compliment because it was a negative coming in, is he hasn't turned the ball over yet. Now, I don't think he's been pressured as much and has seen as good of a defense as he will this weekend. So hopefully that changes, and I do think that is a possible route to success. That's also how you've built this team is, hey, your defensive front go dominate, and, on the back end, just be good enough first, but then also you have the ability to have some superstar type play from guy to guy in that secondary unit. But I don't understand what Devon Dampier has shown on the field that's been vastly more impressive than what Behren Morton has done, because what he's done is just shown pinpoint accuracy and the ability through, by the way, still has not played a full game, has been outstanding. I mean, has been the best, or maybe I should say one of the best, because Sawyer Robertson has been really good passers in the league, and all he's done is lead a well-oiled machine. And so that's just something I don't understand. If he keeps playing that, this way, then he will play his way into those conversations as far as the Big 12 goes. But right now, I just I don't understand that.
Yeah, go play well, take care of the football in a environment like this week. I think we knew that there was not going to be much we could do as a team in the first 3 games to convince anyone of anything, given the state of at least 2 of the programs that we faced. And so this Utah game is the test. Utah media guys are, apoplectic that we haven't played a road game yet, and they know what they're getting into. Okay. But yeah, all of that stuff, all of the answers to all of those questions in terms of, is Behren overlooked? Is Dampier overrated? I mean, the conversations surrounding that start now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, I mean, you're going to have, and maybe I should take the Heisman part out of it. That's just kind of the first couple of examples I saw. And just say in the Big 12 conversation as far as quarterbacks go, I still feel like Behren Morton is not being talked about at all this year. And you can date this back to like the first, game of the season where it was the kickoff in Ireland, and they put up that list of notable quarterbacks, and there was like 7 or 8, and there was I'm telling you, a very odd, just missing player on that list.
I'm telling you.
So I don't know.
I'm just fine with that. I think not because I think it's accurate, but I think Morton having a chip on his shoulder, having a brick-sized chip on his shoulder is not the worst thing.
Sure.
Not the worst thing.
This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line, Bullfighter said 1, and this was the Terrence Carter hurdle right here. This pick is fantastic.
Yeah.
2, these new jerseys are bad ice.
And that was, I think Nathan Geese took that picture, just
Yes.
so we're crediting it
From the
properly.
AJ.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
No, he's taken some sweet photos this year. Shout out to Geese. This on the chat line. I was an air traffic controller at Reese Air Force Base before going to Tech, and I can promise you the elevation 10 miles west of Lubbock is 3,338
There you
feet.
go.
That from Lindell Jeff.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's not even, this is, we're going to 4,100. I mean, this isn't like, again, at 4,100, you 100% want to run that in front of the people from Houston and down there at sea level. Absolutely, because it's a factor.
Mm-hmm.
But 3,100 to 4,100 is not some game changer, man. I mean, it's just not. And I think the fact that we're just, flat out here, you don't think about it being at elevation until you drive over here from Fort Worth or whatever, or come up from Austin or somewhere. You're like, I feel like we've been going uphill for about 4 hours. And you've been on a gradual uphill climb, and then you get out there to post, and you climb the side of a canyon. You go, there it is.
When's the last time you climbed the side of a canyon?
It's been a while. I did that little hike in Blacksburg last year.
Oh yeah, that stuff you sent me from Blacksburg was
Walk about an hour up there, see a waterfall. That's pretty good. Yeah, not a canyon. That's Jamie. He's sitting in his chair from 1 to 3. That's your canyon walker guy, right?
Yeah, 100%. Brennan is stretching behind the classroom.
It's good. He needs to get it right.
Stay limber. Lions never stretch, which is a funny thing to say because I feel like cats stretch all the time.
All I need to do is outrun Clint, not the lion.
I'm Speedster. Call me Lightning because I'm fast and I delay games. It's Tech Talk and Double T 97.3.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. Thanks for making us a part of your Monday. Clint, Gus, Brennan. We are on the halfway stretch before the end of the program, as we will go 3 full hours, hour and a half more. Cowboys Hour tonight, 6 o'clock, Double T 97.3. Old Razzle Dazzle had this to say on the Yates Flooring Center chat line, where you can hit us up as well. Long Skid is definitely the name of a fast person. Clonk, not so much. That's like, where you call like the big guy tiny. Like, call me Clonk because I don't look like I'm fast, but really, I've got wheels. But those wheels are like the sticky ones at like a Walmart shopping cart that make it possible to move. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. What on earth is going on? We'll never tell. Bobby Hot Dog said, I'm ready for fantasy football to get off their you-know-whats and make a 60-plus yard field goal worth 6 points instead of 5.
Oh.
I'm not, because Brandon Aubrey's killing me in a matchup I have right now. Thanks to him. Shout out. The screen is effective now because we have the deep threat.
The screen is also effective because we have men out there blocking.
Yeah, I think, yes.
It's a much more physical group of receivers.
It certainly helps to have that deep threat at any time, right? You saw it plenty, especially on Saturday, which is something that I love, that you knew that was going to be a part of what you needed to attack and what you needed to beat. And you had several guys do it, by the way, which was really fun to see. But I'm with you. I think on the screen game, one, it takes, and this is for, if you're going to the outside, the receivers to do it, and then also the offensive line to be athletic enough for the blocking side, and you have that. It also takes explosive guys behind it to, in the open field, be able to read where they need to go. You have that. And then also I think you need to have, a play caller that, timing-wise, knows when to push that button and when not to, and so far that's been really good for Mac Leftwich. If you're looking at just the screen game.
When you see the number of times that one of our big athletic tight ends motions out into a slot type position, You see that, they show their hand, and the little corner drifts out there with him, and you go, there's our matchup right there. And that can be any number of things, as the texter said, and as you said, because we've seen those guys get deep, go make athletic plays downfield. But you're also now you're going to play that screenplay with a corner with big number 9 out there getting after you.
Because you could also say and we've seen this we've seen specifically how many times when the source of this angst has been around the wide receiver screen just out to the right, and there has to be the want to with it, right?
Sure.
And that has not always been the case with guys on the outside, and I think so far you've seen the want to, and not just with blocking in the screen game, but I mean the want to on any big play of guys trying to help out their teammates, doing everything they can to make sure a score is a score. That brings me to this. So today, head coach Joey McGuire, we'll get to some more thoughts and comments from him probably tomorrow. We'll get into some of his audio. But one thing I saw that I was interested in, he was asked, hey, who are the non-conference MVPs to you? And he said offensive backfield, specifically naming Cam Dickey and Jacoby Williams, and then Behren Morton, and then also said the defensive line, and then John Curry. Gus, if I said who do you think were the non-conference MVPs for the team so far, who jumps to the front of your mind?
Yeah, hard to argue with that. Of course, MVP is different than a pleasant surprise. Yeah, I wrote that down. I have it in my notes. Cam and Jacoby have both played well. John Curry is making me look good.
Yeah. He's making the defense look good. Well, the defense is making the defense look good, but he's certainly helping with that cause.
You know what? That guy right there was somebody, that guy we're seeing on the screen right now, Dante Balfour, has been, I don't want to call him a pleasant surprise, but that he's jumped to the front of this roster, this defensive group, that DB room, is pretty impressive. Because I don't know that he came in as I don't know, with the level of hype now. The analysts are, those guys may know the answer to that, but I don't know. I don't. That's a good question. I mean, one thing that's always tough to evaluate is, what guys are doing in the trenches. But I sure do like the fact that we're able to speed up quarterbacks defensively, and offensively, we've been able to, keep our guy clean for the most part. I mean, but that's going to get tested this weekend for sure.
Like if I think of my just snap reaction MVPs, like to what you said and to what he said, it's hard for me not to just say the entire defensive line. I think that they have lived already up to the hype, and they're going to need to continue to do that, especially starting this weekend. But Behren Morton clearly has been that. Jacob Rodriguez has been one of the best graded linebackers in the country. Take PFF grades for whatever you want, but he's also been incredibly productive. That's not surprising, right? I think two that he didn't say that to me has been a couple of your new weapons. One who we've just talked about with Terrence Carter, because we've talked about all the time and football just has this natural conversation of the importance of having the tight end as a safety blanket with a quarterback, of what that can be. But Terrence Carter is so much more than that. Like a legitimate weapon where you are running designed plays to him, and not just like the screen, you're running the RPO game to him. And I think that's really impressive. But then Reggie Virgil has also comes to mind as far as who's made like not just a bigger impact early than what I thought, but just who's made an impressive impact in the receiving game. So those would be, I guess, the two names I would probably add to that list.
Agree. Yeah, the tight end room's fun. And Leftwich talked today about it. He said, I don't think that somebody pointed out to him that the tight ends this year have caught more balls than any of his tight ends at any of his other stops. or yards.
Yeah.
I can't remember how it was, but basically you're using the tight ends. But I'm sure that's his way of saying this is a different breed of cat too.
You got some freaks in that room because yes, he has Terrence Carter, and then you have like John Carlos Miller.
Well, think about the difficulty in defending that.
Yeah.
Are you going to float an outside linebacker to take on that tight end when he drifts out into the slot and now he's working in space? Are you going to put a little weenie corner on him?
You
Create
can't.
some mismatches.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Gronkowski mismatch game that put him in the Hall of Fame.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
You got Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Brendan Riker behind the glass. One more hour with us as we go up to 6 o'clock. Thank you for making us a part of your Monday. It is a victory Monday as the Red Raiders end non-conference play with a rout of the Beavers. Now you get to turn the page to that Big 12 opener in Salt Lake City. It should be a fun one. We know for sure it'll be a top 25 matchup. I don't know what would have changed from last week to this week, but you never know with the AP top 25. That always seems to have some sort of messy connotation to it. But it is indeed a top 25 matchup. I already knew it was going to be a big noon kickoff, but Gus, I'd like to start hour 3 off with this, and we have talked about this through some of the offseason. As soon as we got the finalized schedule, something that we talked about as far as things we were looking forward to, I think you might have the best or most, in my mind, highly anticipated position group versus position group looming on Saturday when it comes to that Utah offensive line. At least one first-rounder, maybe a couple of first-rounders, and who knows past that, because those are your tackles, what lies on the inside, versus your defensive line, that top 5 graded defensive line coming into the year, the high-profile transfers. They've done nothing to change anyone's mind, nor should they have, and you will get to see that on Saturday. And I think that won't be the only thing that defines that game, but as you have all of these scouts in the house, which they're going to be a lot for that game, it's certainly going to play a big part of who wins that battle. Will have a really good shot at winning that game.
Big time. Yeah, that's and there's been no bones about it throughout the summer. That I think both sides have heard there's going to be a ton of scouts. There are going to be some NFL GMs. I don't know how the scouting structure works in baseball. You'd have what's called cross checkers there if it was that big. Maybe some GMs, but yeah, this game has all the trappings of and at the very, very top of the draft, it's the highest rated offensive lineman in the draft period, at least at this moment. Now, maybe if he gets worked over by Bailey and Height this weekend, that changes. But
yeah, let's drop some of those ratings. That'd be fun.
Yeah, both tackles are the one is the top rated guy in the draft. The other tackle is got high end draft ratings, and I think another guard are the 3 that are so
Spencer
good.
Fano is like the dude, but at the same time, it's funny because if he wasn't there, then you would go to the other side, and the other tackle would be the dude.
Yeah, and then if you're trying to, exactly. Yeah. And on most lines, the other guy would probably be a pretty good dude. But yeah, it's just, I mean, the stage is set for that, and that, that's the kind of stuff like how in the weeds do you want to get as a fan to watch that deal. Hopefully we can do some damage. It's just a fantastic matchup.
I'm excited too because just you have the first 2 weeks against Pine Bluff, against Kent State. Your defensive, your front just obliterated them, right? Made it look like a nothing game, and that's what we wanted to see, and it happened that way. But even against Oregon State, I thought you would consistently win that battle, but it looked almost the same as it did the first 2 weeks. And so this one really is going to be, the eye test and really just the measuring stick. Because, Gus, if you dominate this offensive line or just have a really, really good day against this offensive line, then I mean, there's your confidence builder. If you needed one, there's your confidence builder for the rest of the season.
Yeah, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the threat that they pose, they'll want to make this a heavy game dominated by their offensive line. If you've been around Texas Tech for a long time, think 1989. We're perfectly willing to let that play clock run and just grind you into a pulp. Not that that's the perfect example of it, but if you want to be an old guy like me and think about an old example, that was that was James Gray. We're just gonna run you into a pulp.
Yeah, we're gonna have these double-digit play drives.
Sure, we saw Arkansas come in here and do it to us. And not to say Balaj did it in Tempe, 10 years or so ago, but that was what I would consider to be at least a different style. I think Arkansas came in here and did that in terms of just ball control and just we're going to get it to 3rd and 2 and just full house, ram it down your throat, and then you're going to sub 14 guys, and just the whole deal's going to turn over, and we're going to keep pounding it. Utah wants to do that. Are they capable of it? Who knows? Dampier's an interesting player in that he's so dynamic. But right now, this team averaging 290 yards on the ground.
And you know what I think is what's interesting for him is I thought for what he had been that there was conflicting styles, because that's what Whittingham teams have been. I mean, for as long as he's been there, they're these tough, gritty teams. They're kind of like that Kansas State build that you think of, the typical one. They're always good on defense. They're usually clean on special teams. That hasn't been the case this year, and that wasn't the case last week. I mean, 3 missed field goals in a very subpar first half against Wyoming, and then in the second half they're like 4 for 4 for touchdowns on drives there against the Cowboys, and make it look a little bit less close, I guess, than what it was. But for Devon Dampier, like what he was last year at New Mexico, that seemed like conflicting styles. But I think that there should be some credit to him that he has played in the offense so far, and there's been a little bit of this, like, I'm going to extend this play, but he hasn't put himself in harm's way, and I think that that's the best version of him. And if you're Utah, that's what you're hoping to have. And so then the question goes, okay, well, can you make this a game where they're not finding much through the running game, where it's very, very short yards and you're keeping them behind the sticks and all that stuff you want to do with your defense, and turn him into that Devon Dampier? Because I think that's the last thing that they want.
Yeah, and he's their leading rusher. They have 2 good backs, one of whom played at Washington State against us last year, but Dampier's their leading rusher. How many of those are designed runs versus QB scrambles? I don't know, but yeah, it still gives you an idea of what you're dealing with.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun week to look at this matchup.
This has been the Tech Talk Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.